boy. How long did it go?
Snack bite.
These are all hooked. These are all puppy puppies. More weeds than a weed shop. More green than a weed shop. Is that what he said?
More green than a weed shop.
Reel.
Slack
called it on that one. It was ripping line, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said. But its tail's not very pointed like that.
Oh. Yeah, it's a Coho. It's just a little bit darker, maybe. I don't know. All right. Nice big Coho or a chum. I think it's a chum because of the stripes on the side, but the tail looks like a Coho. So pretty big. Nice one. There. Yeah, baby. Huh?
Are you turning out for
No, I was trying to get the boat straight. And I slowed down. Boat. Oh, big. Good boy. big squeeze.
Very chummy.
It's not very chummy. You're the one who let me Googly-Eye.
Weird. Whoa.
Oh, that was a gnarly Googly-Eye.
Boom. Flippy. Yeah, I'll take this one out or just leave it in there.
Katie is the chum lord. Okay, these are the two chum lord zillionaires that Katie caught today. I said, you want to keep it? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. But truth be told, I've never caught chum in the salt before. I've always been on the river when I was a steelheader as a younger man. And when I hooked a chum, I was always like, ugh, because it's just a big pain. And that's not the target species. But this wasn't necessarily the target species today. But we thought we would bonk these and then do a side-by-side with some Chinook and brine them up and give them a smoke. So we'll continue this video with that. But this fish here kind of fooled us. This was the first fish. And we looked here at the mouth and it looked like a coho mouth at first to me. And then we have this chart that the fish checker, super cool dude up at Nia Bay, gave us last year. And it gives you the salmon IDs and tells you what each fish looks like and whatnot, okay? So we looked at the coho and the silver, and this one doesn't have as refined of a V. It does now that it's got riggy, but it kind of looked flat when we just googly-eyed it. And then this one definitely has the more refined V. I knew right away that this was a chum. But looking at this now, I can see those vertical stripes. I mean, that's gonna get super purple if this made it to the river real quick. This one's obvious. So, but in the mouth here, there was not really any teeth until I really just looked closely, and there are some defined teeth. They're just not developed and poking out yet. On this one, there's definitely some developed gnarly looking teeth. But we're gonna see how these cut, and we'll brine them up with some Chinook and then kind of do a side-by-side this week with the smoke and see how it goes, and then do a taste test and see how it turns out. So anyway, this will be continued. All right, it's the next day after the big chum conquest. And I'm gonna prep this fish to get it on the brine. And so lots of people ask how I make the brine. It's really simple. These ingredients may sound a little bit weird, but it does all come together and it really balances itself out with the sweet and the salt. So we're gonna have 1 pound of dark brown sugar, and this is 2 pounds, so I'm gonna split this for a pretty big batch. So 1 pound. Dark is important because it gives your fish a really nice color. And then we're going to do 6 ounces, or about 3/4 cups of Morton's or any canning or pickling salt. And then 1 tablespoon of each of these. So fine ground black pepper, ground allspice, granulated garlic, and ground clove leaves. So that is the ingredients. So, and we'll be right back and I'll show you how I mix them. All right, trusty old KitchenAid. I've put all of our ingredients in here. I've locked it down. I'm just gonna mix this and let it go for, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, get it mixed thoroughly, super well. And your kitchen or wherever you do this prep will start to smell really good. So that clove and allspice really gives a awesome aroma. This is a piece of the chum that Katie caught yesterday out at Jeff Head. And I don't know about you, but I can't stand pin bones in my smoked salmon. I don't want them anywhere near my mouth. I just can't do it. I don't like pulling them out. So what I did is I bought a really nice set of Fish Chef tweezers. They're stainless from Amazon. I think they're like $8 or $6 or something like that. These work really, really, really good, really well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put my finger on here, and I think you could hear it. You can hear those pin bones. Okay, and I'm just gonna find those pin bones. And by the way, this chum's really firm. I mean, it's nice and pink. It's not red or dark orange like the Chinook is, but so far it's really doesn't have an aroma or anything like that. It seems pretty mild to me. So I'm just gonna find that pin bone line, and of course I always miss 1 or 2, but I'm gonna find it with my finger and I'm just gonna pull straight up, and there it is, just 1 little pin bone. And so I'm going to take the time to go through this whole fillet and all of the other fillets and take these bones out so we can enjoy our smoked salmon to its fullest potential when it's all done. And that way, if you take a piece of smoked salmon and make a dip or a cheese ball or just eat it just by itself, for the most part, you don't have to worry about choking on a pin bone. So, and this is how fast it can go, especially with a firm piece of fish like this. This is really nice. So I try to be as careful as I can without ripping out a bunch of flesh, but sometimes a little bit comes with it. And in my opinion, I just would rather have a little bit of a chunk out of the fillet and have it not look as good as it could, I guess, without being ripped apart. But I just can't stand these bones. I do this when we barbecue salmon too. I can't do the bones. It just drives me crazy. So anyway, almost done here with this one fillet. Couple more little ones right down there towards the tail. Feel 1 more in there. There it is. God, it was tiny. And then I always check back and forth, and I did miss a couple right up here next to the collar. I always do that. They seem to be the hardest. They're short. And that would be that. So that is how I prep and remove all of those nasty pin bones out of the fillet. now that I have all the pin bones out of this fillet, and yesterday when I was filleting, I got all of the rib bones out and I cut the belly out. And so now I'm just going to piece this fish out. And so what I do here is I kind of make a collar piece, because I want to have as many straight pieces as I can. I'm not going to go too big or too small. So I always cut one kind of like this and have a collar. The skin is tough. And this is a sharp knife too, so it's really weird. Okay, so the skin is super tough. Alright, so I take a piece, and I always put these pieces that have like this thin belly meat kind of up front, because I'll need to remove them, and also the tail pieces before the thicker pieces. But so I always have a piece that looks like about that. I'm going to put all of the chum into the green bucket, and then I am going to piece this out. Nice pieces, nice size. So if you wanted to do a cheese ball or something like that, and you had a couple pieces like that, would be a perfect amount. And look at the backside of that. This fish is ultra bright. I mean, it was no wonder we had a hard time figuring out if it was a coho or a chum. Shouldn't have been that hard. We looked like a couple idiots. That's okay. All right. So just going to continue. And when I get down to the end here, I'll make a bigger piece, and then I'll leave the tail kind of like that. And again, I'm going to put these on the smoker in such a way that I can get these thinner pieces off before the thicker pieces. But that is one fillet of chum. All right, so this is the first fish that we caught that we thought might be a coho, and then this is the bigger second fish, and you can see that this one's a lot darker, more orange. This one's more lighter and pink. So Katie has now officially declared that this fish is a choho. All right, so we've got our choho and chum in the green bowl, and then we've got some Chinook. One fillet was from Elliott Bay, and then the rest are all from Winter Harbor up in BC, up in the ocean. So this is all Chinook. So I'm going to put the Chinook on the bottom, since these pieces are a lot thicker. These are all going to juice up so much that this thing will be full of liquid within probably 6 to 8 hours. I'm going to brine all of this for 24 hours. And some of you may be going, whoa, that's a lot. But remember, I only use 6 ounces of salt, and I have experimented, and the 24-hour brine gives me the best flavor and color. So we're going to start, and we're just going to sprinkle each piece, rub it down, get it on all sides of the meat. Okay, and then we're going to put it skin side down. So we're going to continue to do that. Making a mess all over. It's awesome. Okay. Don't need a whole lot on each piece. Skin side down. Okay, and then on the second row, I'm going to go meat to meat. I'm going to rub all these pieces down with the brine, and then meat to meat. And then after this row, we'll go skin to skin again, and then meat to meat, and so on. So All right, we'll be back when we have a full Rubbermaid. Okay, that took about 5 minutes to get these in the brine. That recipe covered this amount of fish just perfectly. I had none left over. As you can see, we did the Chinook first, and it's already starting to juice up. There's like liquid in the bottom already. It's that salt and sugars and whatever's in there is just pulling the moisture out of that fish. Same thing, we put the Cohos over here in this bin. So, and this is a really big batch. I'm not going to be able to smoke all of this at once, so I'll have 2 batches to smoke. But we'll come back to you in about 24 hours and we'll show you the metamorphosis and what happens to these pieces of fish. It's been 6 hours, so let's take a look and see what we've got. So this is the Chinook, and as you can see, the liquid is almost up to the top. Man, it smells awesome. So it's just pulled a ton of liquid out. So that's the Chinook. And then the Coho. Same thing, the Coho is very, very runny. It's got lots and lots of liquid. So the brine is doing its job. We'll check in again later. All right, it's been 24 hours, and now we're going to do some rinsing and show you what's going on here. So this is the Chinook, and as you can see, the level of liquid is almost to the top there. And then this is the Chum and Coho, as Katie calls it, and the liquid level is really high on this. So you can see that the fish has kind of changed color. The Chinook is still darker, but you can tell it's taken a lot of that brown sugar tone to it. And then these were really pink, and one was a little bit more orange, but you can see that this is darkened up too. So they're still going to look a lot different. But we'll see how they taste. So next up is rinsing. And so what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the sink, not real heavy water, but I'm going to rinse all of these spices and ingredients off of each piece of fish. Okay, so maybe just a little tiny bit of the pepper will be stuck here and there in crevices of the fish, but I want to get as much as possible off, just as much as possible off. And then so we're gonna rinse them in the sink underwater, and then we're gonna put them onto a drying rack, and then the drying racks will go in the refrigerators. And I do this again a little bit different than most people. I do a long dry, and so I'm gonna leave them in there. And so today's Monday afternoon. I'm gonna leave these in the refrigerator drying until Thursday about noon time. So that gives it a ton of time to make a super thick, sticky, tacky pellicle, and that will leave or enable the fish to keep all of those proteins and fats inside instead of that white albumin stuff bubbling out, and it just looks bad and all that kind of stuff. So you get a really solid pellicle, and then on Thursday we'll smoke. So we'll be right back with you, and I'll show you how I rinse them. Okay, so we're just going to turn the faucet on about that high, not too hard, not too soft. I'm going to take a piece of our Chinook, and I am just going to rinse this off and lightly rub on all of the skin and the meat sides of this fish to remove as much of those spices and ingredients as possible. I'm going to take that. Okay, you see a super bright Chinook. You can see a little bit of that pepper and whatnot is still left behind, but not a whole lot. That's okay with a little bit, but a whole lot I don't like. It just doesn't look good and it makes it taste funky. So that's what that should look like. So that's one of the pieces of Chinook. So let's take a piece of the chum and give it a rinse, see what it looks like. And so that's what the chum is going to look like. So a lot lighter in color than the Chinook, but it should smoke up, take a whole, get a nice pellicle, and then take a whole lot of smoke and be really, really good eats. Go through the process and rinse all of this fish, get them on drying racks, and put them into the refrigerator until Thursday. And then I'll see you on Thursday for our smoke session. So thanks for watching. We'll be right back at you. Okay, so the fish that we brined up on Sunday, then rinsed on Monday, and put on these racks, has been sitting in the refrigerator on these drying racks since Monday, and it's now Thursday afternoon, so it dried Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days. And the pellicle on this fish, this is the Chinook, the pellicle is sticky and thick, just a really nice pellicle. So this is the chum, and as you can see, it's a little bit lighter colored, but man, the pellicle on that is super nice quality fillets. Like I said before, that chum was really firm. So, and that's the comparison side by side. I have a feeling that this chum is going to make really good smoked fish, especially since we caught it out in the salt. And so we are ready to take and load up the Traeger. So I'll see you in a few minutes. So I'm out at the smoker and wanted to show you what I use for cold smoking. There's Big Friend, he's hanging out with me. So this is a tube, a steel tube that I bought from Amazon. And what I do is I just take my mixture of pellets. And this time we're using a mixture of apple and alder, that classic mix for the Northwest. And I fill that up, and then what I do is I take my trusty propane torch and I light it. And I'm gonna hold this flame on there for a couple of minutes, and this is a pretty powerful torch. So this is gonna really get this going. It's really going to get a really fine base, almost like a punk for lighting fireworks. So I'm going to just light that up, and then I'm going to let it burn. I'm going to let it sit here and burn for just a couple of minutes, for a few minutes. And this is where you have to really keep the flame on it in order for it to create some embers. And once it creates those embers, then it will burn with this nice flame and create an even better ember system. And then you can put this thing into the bottom of the smoker. So when I do that, this will burn for about 4 hours. So it'll burn all the way down through all of the pellets. It will burn for about 4 hours, and the smoker will stay under 100. And it's only 50 some degrees today. It's a nice October autumn day. So my guess is the smoker will stay between 85 and 95 degrees today. And so at the end of that 4 hour cold smoke, that's when I turn the Traeger on and turn it to the 160, 165, whatever the lowest setting is, turn on super smoke, because this new model has a super smoke function, and then finish it off for 45 to an hour and a half. It just depends on thickness of the fillets. So, all right, I'll be back right with you, and we'll load up some fish. All right, I've got the smoker all loaded up. We've got the Chinook on the bottom, and we've got some of the chum. I've got about a little less than 1 tray left over that I couldn't fit on there, and I'll just smoke that up as a small batch, no big deal. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna blow that flame out. So this is going to be smoking very nicely. That flame would go out. So I've got the flame blown out, so we've just got really nice smoke coming off of there. This is gonna be hard to do by myself on camera, but what I'm going to do is hold this up as best I can and put this back down into the smoker without losing a whole bunch of my nice embers out of the open end. Put that right down in there underneath that heat shield. Just like that. So that's gone down to the bottom of the smoker. You can't really see it, but it's kind of under the heat shield. And we will close the lid and I'll be right back with you. Murph, you dork. All right, so it's been a couple minutes with the lid closed, and as you can see, the smoke is absolutely just billowing out of the cracks. And now we'll leave the lid closed for about 4 hours, and we'll check on it, and then we'll turn on the heat and finish it off. All right, it's been 4 hours and the tube has just stopped smoking. So we're gonna take a look at our fish. And everything looks really, really good. You can see some of the pieces are starting to have some good color. Definitely not done, but we're gonna fix that here, turn on the Traeger. And give it about an hour or so, probably a little bit more for some of these pieces, and then it'll be nice and done. I just started the Traeger, and as you can see, we've got 78 degrees of internal temperature, so that means we were probably cold smoking just right there in the low to mid 80s. So, which is a perfect cold smoke temp. All right, 1 hour at 165 on the Traeger. And now we're seeing that nice change. And just a little tiny bit of albumin here and there. Not too bad. Those pieces are looking pretty good. We're gonna go a little bit longer, so I'm gonna give it another half hour. I'm gonna pull off a couple of these pieces here, but we're gonna keep going. All right, it's been a half hour, so hour and a half at 165 on the Traeger. And we're really looking good at this point. It's kind of dark, so getting dark. It's about 6 o'clock here in the evening. So some of these pieces are getting close to done. I am going to use my temp probe and get a probe on some of these medium to thicker pieces and see what the internal temp is. I'm looking for about 145 as my internal temp to finish. So I think we still have a little bit further to go here on time, but I'm gonna check and be right back with you. All right, after some hours here, I think we're finally done. So we're gonna check the temp with the probe here. We are right about 140, 141, so that target between 135 and 145 has been met, and everything's looking good. So we're gonna pull all of this stuff off the smoker, and then we'll show you the finished product before we process it in the vacuum packer. All right, finished product. So this took a lot longer than usual. It's getting cold outside. It's a nice brisk autumn evening. So I think, babe, about 50 degrees. So pretty cold outside. So yeah, it did take a lot longer than it was taking in the summer, but that's kind of obvious. And the smoker was loaded to the max. So anyway, I think it looks really, really good. The Chinook is on the left and the Chum is on the right. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these 3 trays that we have and put them in the refrigerator overnight, and then we're gonna vacuum pack everything tomorrow, and we'll do a taste test then. All right, this nifty LEM chamber vacuum sealer makes this easy as easy can be. And it's going to take about 35 to 40 seconds for each bag. If I don't cut the pieces too wide, we can put 2 pieces in one of our nice little bags. But lots of them are a little bit too wide, so we just do 1 piece per bag. This is the Chum, by the way, and it looks really good. So as soon as we're done vacuum packing all of this, we will go inside and have a side-by-side taste test. And that's it. Just like that. All right, here's the finished product. We've got a piece of Chum and a piece of Chinook. And we're gonna break these open, see what they look like on the inside. So here's the Chum. And that looks really nice and flaky. Take that off the skin. Pretty white, pretty light looking meat. And then the Chinook. Break that in half. And the Chinook definitely has that more pink, orangish color. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a blind taste test. So I'm gonna blindfold Katie, and I'm gonna give her a piece of fish and see if she can tell us if it's Chinook or Chum and which one she likes better. So we'll be right back. Okay, here we are. And there's my best friend and wife, Katie. She's gonna blindfold herself with the red bandana. And then I'm gonna feed her a piece of fish. We'll see if she can, well, we're not gonna have her say anything. First, we'll do this one. So first we're gonna do this one. Okay, and give that to Katie. Go ahead, chomp it down. Well, what do you think of that one?
Okay.
Okay, and then the next one will be this one. Okay, you could take the blindfold off now. All right, so what do you think?
I think the first one was Chum.
And the first one was Chinook. The second one was chum.
Okay.
So what did you think of the first one? Not.
It was good. I mean, they taste pretty similar. I think that one of them was maybe more dry than the other.
Which one was more dry?
The first one.
Oh,
That's why I said chum.
so the Chinook was more dry, and that makes sense because they say chum has lots of oils, and that's why it makes such great smoked salmon. So,
Well, I didn't know that.
well, good. I'm glad you didn't know that. So your verdict is which one, number 1 or number 2, was better?
Well, I'd go with number 2 then, because it's not as dry.
Huh. So there you go. Katie is the chum master. All right, so there you have it. So this video is really long, so if you've stuck with us this far, then thank you so much. We appreciate that. I know I can be long-winded from time to time, but this is something that is super fun to me. It's my favorite thing to do is fish and then make smoked fish and share it with friends and people I work with, and it just makes me happy. So this video took about a week to make. So we were out last weekend fishing up at Jeff Head, and then the whole preparing, brining, smoking process pretty much took the whole week. And it's Friday evening, and we caught these fish last Saturday. So anyway, it's been a great season. I wanted to go tomorrow, but small craft advisory out there, and the winds say that we're staying home, finding something else to do. So I'm not saying that we're putting the boat up yet for the winter, because maybe next weekend, if it's calm, maybe we'll venture back out there. But if this is it, this is it, and we'll start to do some other things. There's always Kokanee to fish for out on Lake Washington, which is kind of local to us. There's a huge kokanee population. There's that to do, digging razor clams, and I'm sure we'll find something. So anyway, thank you for supporting our channel. Please click that like button. Definitely subscribe. It would help us out. That would be super cool. Our channel is growing. It seems a little bit slow, but maybe I'm just impatient. So anyway, again, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.